Welcome to another episode of the Brand Builder Show. What's up, brand builders? Today's episode is how to control brand perception for increased profits. So, this is a pro guide. Brand perception is a crucial, though oft-ignored aspect of brand management. We focus so much on product quality, innovation, and customer service that we tend to not consider how people perceive us overall. Yet, you can think of your brand as a living entity, existing in the minds of your customers, your biggest fans, and your biggest detractors. In this video, I'll give you actionable tips on how to manage your reputation at every stage of your brand journey. So, what is brand perception? Typically, when we think of a brand, we think of a product or company. But the brand is much more than that. Indeed, a brand can encompass company culture, mission or vision statement, personality, advertising messages. These more abstract elements of brand inform brand perception. Though naturally, the quality of the product or service does as well to a large degree. Now, all these things together, they come together to create the perception. Now, perception is, of course, maybe not what your brand really is about. It is what your audience, your target market thinks, or your customer segment thinks your brand is. So that is the essence of perception. From the moment a customer becomes aware of a brand, their experiences with the brand begin to accumulate. The cumulative result is the brand perception, and it exists on two different levels. First, the individual customer level, and then the market level. Now, brand perception is the mental impression your customers have about your company and product. Now, complicating matters further, many elements that inform brand perception are out of our control. Now, let's look at a few possibilities. A customer has a conversation with a friend in which your brand comes up. This may or may not improve the customer's opinion of you. A customer reads a negative online review of your product. Your competitor's name is raked through the mud for questionable practices, but you're also mentioned even though you've done nothing wrong. Consequently, you must take command where you can, so you can shape brand perception to the degree you're able to. Let's look at the psychology of brand perception. When a customer first encounters your brand, hears your company name or sees your logo, a wonderful thing happens. You see, our big, complex brains are marvelous association machines. From that first moment of introduction, your customer will carry with them an overall impression of your brand. This is a powerful psychological phenomenon that you can take advantage of if you know how. Whether the consumer is aware of it or not, their brain creates a file of sorts every time it encounters a new brand. Then, when the customer interacts with that brand, their brain effortlessly updates this file. How the information gathered by the customer is interpreted largely determines their opinion of your brand. There are three types of brand perception. Positive. Repeat positive experiences have created a rapport and have established a favorable view of the brand by the consumer. The consumer is likely to buy your product and may give you repeat business and valuable word-of-mouth advertising. Number two, negative. The consumer generally dislikes your brand and will avoid it. Number three, neutral. The consumer has had lukewarm interactions with you and is indifferent. Note that neutral brand perception can be just as damaging as negative brand perception, essentially at the market level. One or two dissatisfied customers here and there may not do too much damage, but if your overall reputation is negative, you're in big trouble. Brand loyalty. Building positive brand perception over time has several concrete benefits. Number one, it increases volume of first-time customers. It increases repeat business. It grooms brand ambassadors. Now, brand ambassadors are repeat customers who are so pleased with your product or service that they routinely sing your praises on social media or other outlets. In the age of the internet, this results in priceless word of mouth advertising. Don't leave your brand perception up to fate. Chances are your competitors won't. Tools to use as you go. You can use the following strategies at any point in the brand perception journey. In particular, these methods can help you create emotional connections with customers. Fostering an emotional bond with customers makes it easier to recover from a stumble. After all, making a strong first impression is only half the battle. To achieve longevity, you'll need to accomplish two things. Remain relevant to the customer. Keep track of industry changes, changing customer trends, and cultural shifts. With the following 4 steps, you can do all this and more. Number 1, find out how consumers view your brand. What do consumers think about you? Do they believe that your reputation matches your stated mission and values? Do they believe your product is as valuable as you do? Understanding what your customers actually think of you is always the first step in taking control of brand perception. The tried and true survey is a good go-to. But consumer attention spans are growing shorter. So now going in that you may need to offer an incentive to encourage participation is important. A gift card awarded to 1 or 2 random winners will typically suffice. Number 2, tailor messages to specific demographics. To gain market share, you had to have conducted analysis on consumer pain points and market gaps. Put this data to good use by showing consumers you care. Focus your campaign messaging on these pain points and gaps so you stand a better chance of creating an emotional bond with customers. If you can demonstrate that you're in tune with consumer needs, your customers will respond. To see this in action, study any recent ad campaigns targeting millennial parents. Ads targeted at these new parents tend to lead with product functionality in an attempt to build meaningful connections. Additionally, millennials tend to do more research than other generations, and they tend to buy from companies whose values align with their own. Number 3, create, build, and nurture positive associations. One of the ways in which online shoe and clothing retailer Zappos sets itself apart was by ensuring that it had stellar customer service. Now, founded all the way back in 1999, Zappos faced a dilemma, as it wasn't yet clear that consumers would embrace shopping online. Indeed, customers had many questions. One of their main concerns with online shopping was how would returns work? One of the ways in which a fledgling company like Zappos allayed these fears was to ensure that returning merchandise was incredibly easy. Whether you strive to differentiate yourself through amazing customer service, frequent giveaways, or through some other schemes, do so consistently. Over time, building positive associations will keep you top of mind, which will lead to more repeat business. Number 4, anticipate change. Nothing stays the same. Therefore, one of the best ways to remain relevant is to anticipate change. Consumer tastes can be fickle, so make it a priority to stay abreast of any changes in your industry. Similarly, it's a good idea to stay on top of technological advances. These advancements can help you address consumer pain points before the competition can.